you're here. Yeah, we're so glad you're here. Oh, we're so glad to be together in unity.
How about you? Yeah. So we had a good time. And now we're back to bug you.
Not to annoy.
Bother you a little bit. To make you a little spiritually uncomfortable. To challenge you a little bit.
Just a little.
Right? It's our job to, challenge you a little bit. So we're starting this new series on self-empowerment. And we're going to be talking about unmasking your inner light. And this morning, we will be discussing how to face your fears. Anybody got any fears they deal with? You don't have to admit it openly.
Not this group. That's that other group.
Oh, yeah. As I was pondering over and considering this lesson and thinking about it, I realized that I have a few in there that I hadn't even really recognized as being such. So I think that we probably all do have some that maybe we just don't recognize. So anyway, we're going to speak to that this morning. But first, I think you have an announcement, right?
Oh, yes. We've got some trees where some limbs and some branches have fallen down on the property. And so we need maybe a couple folks to come by through the week and maybe just kind of move them over to the brush pile. And we're talking about things that are around the front property here. But there's a few branches and limbs that have fallen. So if you can help with that, would really be appreciated. Just let us know that you're coming and maybe let me know afterwards, and we really appreciate it. All right? Okay, how many know this is a community? It takes all of us together to make things work, right? And sometimes there's things we can do with our hands. How many know that's just as important as what you do with your heart and with your head? Right? This is a body, mind, and spirit kind of situation. All right? So let's put it all into it, and we can get a lot accomplished. So, facing your fears. So we say, spirit of courage. Let's call forth the spirit of courage. Spirit of courage, shine through us now. May the light of love replace every shadow of fear. Let's pray that again. Spirit of courage, shine through us now. May the light of love replace every shadow of fear. Right? Yeah. There was a child who was afraid of the dark. And shadows would, I remember when I was a little boy, I would be lying in bed and all of a sudden I'd see something. What was that? Like a shadow on the wall, And when you're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever, it looks scary. It looks scary, yeah. And you're not sure what it is. And so I remember calling for somebody, Mom, Dad, there's something in here. And so some parents will do this. They will come and they will sit with the child and comfort them, and they'll place like a candy bar, or something underneath their bed. And so then they'll tell the kid, well, look under the bed and see what is under there. Oh, it's a candy bar. Ooh. And that makes them feel better, And anyway, sometimes we're frightened by our own reflections. How many know that we cast a shadow? You ever walk down the street and you feel like somebody's following you, looking around, and then you realize, oh, no, it's just my shadow. Right? So I cast a shadow. So we create that shadow side through fear and repression. Say together, repression. You know what that is? It's, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to even hear about it, right? And we push it down, we push it down, we push it down, and we go through our lives, and that shadow is more and more repressed, and after a while that shadow says, hey, I'm going to get your attention one way or the other. And then as you get older, the shadow gets your attention through what? Through your health, through your goals, through your desires. And it says, are you going to pay attention to me? Are you going to give me some attention? How many understand that there's a part of you that is crying out and asking for your attention? Because how many know the most important thing you have is your attention? That's your greatest quality. One of your greatest qualities is attention. Because I know. What is it that you want from your significant other? You want their attention. Because what is attention? It's it's love. Positively focused attention. Just another way of saying love. When you're willing to give your attention to someone and what they're experiencing, what they're going through. I'm having a problem with this thing here, but anyway. Right? So giving your attention to yourself. We don't do that, do we? We don't want to think about it. We don't talk about it. We don't want, we want, and why? Because we're afraid of our own feelings. Now, there's some, guys in here that have been working out, and you're strong. You got, you can deadlift a lot of weight, and you really think you're tough. You know what I mean? But I don't want to talk about my feelings. Right? Why? How many know that is the very thing you don't want to talk about is what you need to talk about? So the idea of this is to face your fears, to face your fears, to look at them. Right?
Yes, and this is probably opposite of what many of us experienced in childhood, because it is childhood where those fears are first introduced to us and kind of embedded in us. And it was from a very good place. Our parents want to keep us safe, so they're always giving us these little things to be afraid of or to, not get too close to, or whatever the case may be. And as a result, we develop these fears, but at the same time, we're not really given the space to unpack those things and talk about them. At least in my house, we didn't do that. We didn't talk about feelings in my house. So I know that's the experience for some people. But, fear really comes from this collective culture that we have of anxiety and fear, especially post-COVID. The anxiety and the fear of people are really off the charts, right? So we have to be mindful and aware of when that's being talked about and when we're trying to be sucked into to bite the hook of something that we don't want in our lives, that fear. So there's a nice little acronym for fear that is face everything and rise. You can't rise above anything until you face it. If you just keep repressing it and burying it and ignoring it and insisting that you don't want to talk about it, what happens? I know for me, it just keeps rearing its ugly head over and over and over. So Debbie Ford, who did the shadow work, I love her analogy of this. You've got a pool and it's filled with inflated beach balls. And each of those beach balls represents something negative or shadowy in your life. And they're all popping above the surface at various times, vying for your attention. But what we tend to do is we try to submerge this one over here, and we submerge this one over here, and we're trying to hold on to this one over here. We're trying to hold them all down, but we can't. Invariably, some of them start popping up to try to get our attention. So until we can take the air out of that beach ball and deal with it, it's always there submerged, just trying to get our attention to say, look at me, Look at me. It's like the 2-year-old, right? Look at me, look at me, look at me. It's always wanting our attention.
And one of the ways you can tell is that your words become emotionally charged with either what? Love or fear. Because those are the two basic emotions of life, right? And so if your words are emotionally charged, what you talk about is what you're literally asking for. Okay? What do you talk about most of the time? That's your prayer. Say with me, oh. Right? Something to think about. And so the universe says, oh, I see you want more of this. Okie dokie pokey. More of that. Whatever you talk about, you bring about. Make sense? In the book of Job, it says, the very thing I feared came upon me. Say when they, right? The very thing I feared came upon me. So if you don't look at it and give it attention, because that's all it really wants, when you give it attention, then you know what you need. When you give yourself attention, you say, oh, wait a minute, I need to take better care of myself, because that's where it starts to show up. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're not paying attention to our needs. We're not paying attention to whether we are happy and fulfilled or not. And if you're not, then the shadow is going to say, I don't like this. That little child in you gets upset and says, I just don't like this. I don't like being in this. Because you got to play a little bit every day. You need to have a little fun every day. How many know it's okay to have fun?
Yes.
Right? Give yourself permission to find things that are enjoyable. Because after a while, there's a part of you that will begin to get into something called regret and resentment. Oh, I can't believe I have to do this again. They are not paying attention to me, right? They aren't helping me. They aren't looking at me. They are not complimenting me. They're not comforting me. They're not loving me. They're not positively affirming me. How many see what the common element of that story is? It's me, 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 me. It's the Trinity, me, myself, and I, right? So, giving attention. Real strength is kindness and gentleness. That's real strength.
You know why that's real strength?
Tell us.
Because that can be the hardest thing to do when someone is coming at you in anger or in challenge, in fear, in anxiety, whatever it is. It's so easy to respond back the same way, with the same energy. To be able to hold a space of kindness and compassion and respond back with that in the face of something that's not that, that's real strength. That's a real commitment.
Yeah.
That's real.
Takes a lot of self-control to be kind.
It does. It does.
Right? This is what we call well-managed strength. Well-managed strength.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I am strong. I am free. Fear has no hold on me. Can you say that? I am strong.
I am strong.
I am free.
I am free.
Fear has no hold on me.
Has no hold on me.
Isn't that beautiful?
So here we are, grown-up spiritual beings, still reacting like frightened children, right? So one of the things that has helped me a lot, that I have come to realize, is that fear is just an energy, right? It exists. So if you think about, we have an emotional scale, And at this end is fear, and at this end is love, and then we have everything in between. And it's all energy, right? I don't know about you, but when I feel afraid, I feel it in my gut. And when I feel excited, I feel it in my gut. Interesting that they're almost the same energies, but I label it fear as opposed to excitement. So maybe fear is just waiting to be renamed as something different. So if I have the opportunity to do something that I'm afraid of doing, I could say, this is the same energy as excitement, so I think I will look at this as the excitement to engage in something and overcome it, to meet it head on, to deal with it, to rise above it. It's the same energy, why not? Why be captive to fear when it is in your power to approach it differently and do it differently? I don't want to spend my life being outwardly managed by something I'm afraid of, right? So we can reframe things as well. One of the greatest miracles in my life, I've told this story before, I know. I was a very angry individual. I grew up in an alcoholic home, and that was what was, displayed for me, and so that's what I picked up. That's what I mirrored. Very angry individual. And the Course in Miracles has a phrase that it's not the exact words, but it's the idea that there's only two emotions, fear and love, and at the core of whatever it is, you can ask yourself, is this fear or is this love? And I began to work with anger and realize that much of the anger that I had was rooted in being afraid of something. And when I could begin to shift that and look at that and see it for what it really was, I overcame my anger. Now, it really takes a lot for me to get angry these days, really a lot. So we can reframe by asking, what is it that I'm afraid of? Whenever I'm feeling anything that feels less than excitement and love on that emotional range, what is it that I'm afraid of? What is the fear that's behind this? So when I would go into the bathroom and it would be a total wreck because the boys had all taken their showers and there were towels everywhere and the mirrors are all, everything's just a mess. 3 boys, imagine that. To get angry about that, 4. I'm so glad you admitted that.
You got to face your fears,
To get angry about that, the real fear behind that was, I'm being taken advantage of. They're not loving me. They're not showing me any appreciation by leaving all of this for me to clean up. So by looking at what it is that's going on and saying, what is the fear behind this, and reframing it. And a lot of times if it's something we're afraid of doing, we can start that reframing process by saying, I am capable of, and then speaking your truth. I am capable of looking at that spider and not going to pieces. I am capable of engaging with this person and staying in my center. I am capable, because you are. You are capable. It takes practice sometimes, doesn't it? We have to do it many times, some of us. We have to do it many times. But we are capable. We can move beyond our comfort zones. We can do new things, and we can learn to ask for what we need and for what we want. Eleanor Roosevelt said, do one thing every day that scares you. Do one thing every day that scares you.
You know, I'd like to say, too, that a lot of times people have the wrong idea about their shadow. They think, oh, once I kill it or dissolve it or, you know, push it away, I will never be bothered by it ever again. You ever tell yourself that? Why, James, I renamed it, I reframed it, and I started looking at it differently, but it was still there. So what is the difference? The difference is you now have a toolbox on how to deal with it and work with it, because it's just energy, right? Because there are grooves in your brain that says, I'm no good, I'm no good, I'm no good, I'm no good, you know. That groove is still there, and you will flip into that from time to time. But now that you have a tool that says, I can rename and reclaim this, I am capable of speaking the truth in every given moment. I am capable of being aware, right? And you begin to reframe these things and begin to see them not so big. You know, we're really good at turning little things into big things, aren't we? But how many know you can turn something big into something little? It doesn't mean that you will never, ever have to deal with it again. It just means now you have the tools to work with it and to make it your friend. Do you see how this works? Because everybody in the world, whoever you see as your enemy, what do you want to do? You want to either neutralize or to make friends with them. Make friends with them.
And all of this is not to negate the knowing that sometimes fear feels crippling. It feels overwhelming. Having gone through my own situation with panic attacks, I know how real it feels. I also know, being in the midst of something like that, knowing that I had all of these tools and feeling in that moment incapable of using them. But I think the challenge is to dig deep, and if nothing else, remember to breathe. Breathe through it.
Which is a tool.
Which is a tool, whether you know it or not. Breathe through it until the feeling is not so overwhelming. And then pull out your other tools and use the ones that you have that can bring you comfort. So fear really is excitement without breath. Fear really is like holding your breath, right? And the minute you can let that breath out and you can just continue with the breathing, it lightens. It eases. You can get on the other side of it.
Let's affirm. I am greater than my fear.
I am greater than my fear.
I walk in courage.
I walk in courage.
I am clothed in the brilliant light of loving awareness.
I am clothed in the brilliant light of loving awareness.
Right?
Yeah.
So fear is excitement without your breath. So take a deep breath and move forward anyway. How many know that you are more capable than what you think you are? And that's why you have challenging circumstances show up in your life, to show you how capable you really are. Let's say it together. I can do this.
I can do this.
All right? Of course you can.
Of course you can.
Yeah. Because all of us, every single person in this room, you have your own personal challenge that you're dealing with right now. Is it true? Right? Absolutely. We're all dealing with stuff. We're dealing with things. And so,
Yeah.
but whatever yours is unique to you. And so, even with Leah, she got to the point she says, I can't handle this. I don't know what to do about this. And so we just talked, and she said, well, I'm just going to breathe. I'm just going to breathe. I'm just going to breathe. And then she got to the point to where she could begin to manage it and begin to work with the energy, right? And I watched her process. I watched her process all of this. Because she came from that place of high anxiety, you know, to a more calm, balanced state. When she would go to bed at night is when it would come to her. Mm-hmm. And she would just breathe. She'd wake up panicked, and she would just breathe. Because, you know, I'm trying to go to sleep, and I'm trying to sleep, and she's over there going, you know. Okay. Yeah. Whatever it takes, right?
And you
but
know,
everybody's got their stuff.
And what's interesting now is sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, and that feeling is there.
Yeah.
And I can go, I know who you are. I've dealt with you before.
That's right.
And I can just breathe for a few seconds and go back to sleep. Yeah. It's like once you get mastery over something, then you can just move on. I have a story this morning that I want to share that talks about someone who dealt with a particular fear. I think it will be an encouragement. So this is a true story. Megan was a member of the Westboro Baptist Church, the infamous group that protests at military funerals. You guys are familiar with them? They protest at military funerals with God hates fags signs. They're awful. Her entire world, her family, her friends, her identity, her understanding of salvation and hell was all contained within that church. The fear that she faced wasn't of a physical danger, but of eternal damnation and the complete loss of every single relationship she had ever known. Through patient conversations with people who challenged her beliefs with kindness, she began to doubt. Her courage was not in a single moment, but in a slow, painful process of questioning everything she had been taught. The most courageous act was simply allowing herself to think a heretical thought. Finally, in 2012, at age 26, she and her sister left the church and their entire family. She faced the terrifying unknown of the outside world that she had been taught to hate. She has since become a powerful advocate for empathetic dialogue across ideological divides, showing that the courage to change one's mind is the most profound and difficult fears to face. Her story is now detailed in her memoir called Unfollow. Sometimes those fears are not so obvious. Now, for her, being the fear of damnation, probably that's a heavy rap, and it probably weighed on her heavily. But I think back, having come from that same, not that extreme, but from that same theological background that there's heaven and hell, and you're going or you're not, and this, all that stuff. That fear of damnation, I'm sure, was there at some level, and maybe some of us are still, struggling with that and don't even realize it. It's just kind of in there, it's embedded, it's hidden, it comes out sometimes. So that's what I was saying earlier about some, there are some fears that we're not even aware of that are playing underneath the surface. So just being in a place to open your mind, just to be able to entertain a thought. Wow. And I remember that when we were going through our conversion from mainstream denominational Christianity into New Thought.
Whatever we are now.
And it was like, okay, you go first, and if the hammer doesn't fall on you, then maybe I'll entertain some of it. So I let him wade out in the deep water, and then it was like, okay, well, lightning hasn't struck you yet, so I guess I can open my mind to a couple things. I can look at a couple things. And golly day, once the box came apart, I looked at everything. Because once I realized that, that lightning strike, that hammer was not going to fall on me because of entertaining some different ideas, well, then I was all over the place.
Yeah. You became more truly your authentic
Well,
self.
absolutely, which is what overcoming our fears really allows us to do, right? It allows us to be more authentic.
If you can't be yourself, you have to ask the question, well, why? What is it? How many understand that you choose the beliefs that you have? They're chosen. Mm-hmm. Now you say, no, I grew up with it. Yeah, but at some point you were smart enough to say, right, to make a choice. And so we have to take responsibility for our choices, for our beliefs. And as we become more responsible, then we can choose something new, something different, right? And get outside the box so we can see, hey, I was in a box and I didn't even know it. Because folks, they don't know that they're in the box. We didn't know for a long time. But we kept hitting up against, the sides of it.
We were trying to bring everybody into the box with us. We thought that was the place to be.
That was where you're supposed to be, is get here in this box with us. Believe like we do.
Oh, gosh. Ugh. Yeah.
Wow.
So fear is like a ghost. It looks scary, but really there's nothing to it. It has no solidity, no solid power to it. And when we shine the light of our understanding and our awareness on it, it disappears. Right?
Yeah. A bold thought. I am fearless, for I know the power that is within me. Right? I am courage. I am strength. I am grounded in the presence of God. And fear dissolves in the light of my being. Because I'm no longer focused on it. So you can't talk about strength and courage and bravery and speak those words and still be in fear. Make sense? You've shifted yourself to a different definition, a different understanding, a different way of approaching this. I mean, it's just really very simple, right? You can choose to believe this or you can choose to believe that. It's up to you. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
So we're giving you permission to be yourself. That's what unity does. Hey, you be you, I'll be me, and let's see what happens. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Because, at the very core of our being is goodness and love. That's what's really at the core. I know a lot of people say, oh man, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this other thing. Well, once you shift your focus, that's what the word repentance in the Bible means. It means to go in a new direction. The Greek word is metanoia. Meta is to transcend, and noia is the mind. I mean, your mind is annoyance sometimes. Right? That's the James King version.
That's pretty good.
So, here's some things you can do. Mindful research says that emotions lose their grip when they are observed compassionately.
Without judgment.
Right? Because we look at ourselves and, you terrible thing, you awful thing. No. Observe it compassionately. Because you're sucking the air out of it. You're releasing, you're letting it, you're letting it go. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
So, be still and know, the Bible tells us, is to accept and trusting what is inside you. Pause daily and name this feeling that you're having in every moment. What am I feeling right now? You feel a little weird? You ever wake up feeling kind of weird? Okay, I feel weird today. what is this? What is this?
I wake up feeling you're a little weird. Does that count?
I'm feeling judged. No,
I'm sorry. I just couldn't not say that.
I like being a little bit weird.
Yeah.
A little bit. So here's the last thing I want to say. Feed your faith, starve your fears. Feed your faith, starve your fears. What is your faith? Faith is your positive intentions. It's your positive beliefs. Feed that, and your fears will get skinny. Put them on a diet, right? And after a while, you're so focused here that they just kind of fade into the background. Now, yeah, they're still there. They're still kind of hanging out saying, hey, remember me? Right? So just because you have a thought doesn't mean that's who you are. Let me say that again. Mm-hmm. Just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean that's who you are. Because how many know you're not your thoughts? Yeah. You are a spiritual being who's having a human experience right now. Isn't it beautiful?
Thank goodness.
All of us.
Yeah.
We're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
All right. And if you wish, you may close your eyes. And become more intimate with yourself by shutting everything else out. When you close your eyes, it's just you. It's just you. Everything and everyone else just disappears. And so just breathe in and out. And as you do it, you begin to sense that something is changing inside of you through the power of your breath, the energy, the feelings. And so you begin to place your attention upon your heart. And whatever it is that you're feeling right here, right now, be present with you. Be present, be still with you. Learn to appreciate who you are. Learn to validate your strengths and your gifts. Know within yourself that you are capable of so much more, maybe, than you ever thought. You're capable of loving relationships with others. Capable of being a good friend to someone else. Capable of going beyond your comfort zone and reaching out to someone and saying, hi, how are you? And going beyond that uncertainty. Going beyond that little wall that we've created around ourselves to protect ourselves from what's out there. But you begin to realize that fear really has no power at all other than what you give it. If you feed it, it will dominate you. If you believe in it, it will overcome you. If you give it attention and energy and words and times and actions then it takes all of that with your permission and begins to lord over you, to control you. So maybe this morning you're done with it. That's enough. I see what's going on now. I see what's going on, and I'm ready for a change. I'm ready for something new and different. I invite you to begin facing your fears and feeding your faith and starving your fears. That's how we release them. That's how we let it go. That's how we change our lives. The power is in your hands. I spent a lot of years praying and asking God, please, please, take this away from me. But eventually what came back to me is, no, it's your responsibility to take care of you, to take care of you as part of the creation, take care of your body, your mind, your thoughts, and your feelings. And so the more I do that, the more authentic I become, the more real life becomes. And the more I experience that true healing inside, and that wholeness and that well-being. Let's just take a breath of wholeness. Let's take a breath of well-being. Oh, that feels so good. Let's take another breath of bliss. And a breath of joy. And let out whatever is not that. So we know that as we engage, what I discovered is that God will help me. Spirit will guide me. Spirit will lead me. Spirit will give me the tools that I need to deal with and to work with and to manage these fears. And after a while, I realize it's a partnership. We're co-creating together this beautiful life. And I'm grateful. Let's be grateful for our blessings today. If you know of someone that you'd like to pray for, to hold in this space, I invite you to whisper their names aloud. Maybe envision them in your mind and reach out to them with loving thoughts, with care and concern, and bless them, surrounding them with your prayers. In whatever way that you like to pray, however you want to do it, is fine. Just send them some good energy. Just let it be. Let it be. We love you. We bless you. We see your potential, dear one. And we are grateful for you. We affirm peace in the world, reconciliation, forgiveness, and healing. We see it. We believe in it. We trust. And we affirm it together. We're grateful for this community, for each and every one. We say, thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you for these, my friends. As we journey together, as we learn, as we grow, as we become more and more who we are here to be. And that feels good. So I invite you to hold a moment, hold the stillness for just a moment. What a beautiful energy that's here right now. Could sit in this all day. So in the name of the Christ and all this sacred, holy, and good, we say amen.
Amen.
And so it is.
So it is.
Let's take a moment to reach and stretch.